Uh, the problem with Jalen is Jalen plays his best ball after he's played his worst ball.
Yeah. Man, Jeff Stoutland is worth his weight in gold because yeah, I'm not concerned. Now, I'd rather have Brandon Brooks. I'd rather have Isaac Sayamalo. I'd rather have Lance Dickerson. I'd rather have Jack Driscoll. But I think they're going to be competitive. That's crazy.
You've got your MAGA Mac guys, McDonald and McMullen, holding down the fort here on Birds 365. When we need a helping hand, we know where to look. Here today with us, we have a guy who's only been covering the Eagles for decades, doing these days a couple of new outlets, the 33rd Team and PhillyMag.com. Our buddy Paul Domowitch hops aboard. Dama, you look like you're ready for some football.
Oh yeah, man! Tuesday football gets me going.
Yeah, well, Monday, a couple great games to get you ready if you watch those, Dama. What awful football. Hopefully we get better football on Tuesday night. But I got to tell you, if Garrett Gilbert is starting at quarterback for the Washington football team, are we going to get more ugliness tonight?
Well, look at the bright side. The Eagles sack total will finally go up to a respectable number.
Good, very well. All right, so I'll go there. I said this yesterday with John. I said last night on WIP. The Eagles defensive coordinator has shown a propensity of the lesser the quarterback the other team has, the more aggressive he is. If you got a star quarterback coming in like, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, he shows deference and sits in the zone and tries not to get beat badly long. If he's got a quarterback he thinks isn't quite up to snuff, he will blitz more often, and he will play press coverage on the outside. No matter who the Washington quarterback is, and it could be one of four guys. Who's the other guy from the Blackhawks or whatever?
Jordan Teamu, the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Battlehawks, excuse me. I said Blackhawks. I'm a hockey head. What can I tell you? So there's actually 5 quarterbacks who could be playing for Washington tonight. Does it matter for any of them? Are we going to see an aggressive Eagles defense? Because none of those guys are going to be getting Pro Bowl consideration this year.
Well, I think regardless of who starts for Washington, Ron Rivera's strategy is going to be to take a page out of the Eagles' offensive strategy of late and run the ball a lot, particularly if it's not Heineke. But even if it's Heineke, I mean, Antonio Gibson is going to be a 25 carry guy tonight. Which could be a good thing for the Eagles. He's a very talented back, but he fumbles a lot, and so they'll have some chance for some turnovers. But I don't. What you want to do though, Jody, is you want to put them in 3rd and long, and then you can tee off on them. I don't think we're going to see Washington run pass the ball much on 1st and 2nd down. So they just need to. 3rd and long is going to be the key for the Eagles tonight on defense.
Damo, for the Eagles, people have focused on, and understandably so. They were inconvenienced. I think they were screwed. That kind of talk is a little bit over the top, but nonetheless, it's not optimal for them to move this game back to Tuesday. One positive, though, as Nick Sirianni said, Jalen Hurts was going to be questionable if the game was Sunday, although he said he was trending in the right direction. Well, he was trending in the right direction because he's going to start on Tuesday. No injury designation on the final injury report. And at Philly Mag, Eagles Report, you put your by the numbers, which is, got more shelf life this week for Tuesday. That's a positive as well, too. Just how run-centric the Eagles have become since early November. And, they have a league high rushing attempts per game. Their run play percentage in those 6 games has skyrocketed. Their first down runs, everything was run. Jordan Howard's back. Landon Dickerson is out, though. We're probably going to see late Nate Herbig and Sue Opeta. Any of that change the thought process of the Eagles, or is it just run the football.
Well, I mean, I think the loss of Dickerson, especially with the return of Jonathan Allen on the other side of the ball, is not a good thing. It's not ideal. It hurts the Eagles, both in pass protection and running the ball. But I don't think it's going to change their attitude going into this game, whether it's Opeta or not. They're going to try and run the ball as much as possible. Whether they reach 40 carries again for the seventh straight game, I think will depend on the circumstances of the game. But if they don't lose the lead, if Washington doesn't jump out in front like the Jets did 2 weeks ago when they scored on their first 3 possessions, I think the Eagles would just as soon hand the ball off and play it that way. And even with the sore ankle, I think we'll see Jalen run a few times.
Part of our job is to crystal ball it, prognosticate it before things happen. People want our opinion on what will happen in advance. I'm not going to ask you about the score of the game. I'm going to ask you about the feel of the stadium. You've been doing this for decades. John has as well. I hosted the Eagle pregame show for years, which means you're right in the midst of the Eagle fans. You get a vibe before every game. A lot of times it's close to being the same. Sometimes it's different. Sometimes it's underwhelming. Sometimes it's palpable. You could actually feel it. The Eagles are 1-4 at home this year. And they've had some tough opponents to play, but 1-4 is 1-4. But they're very much in the hunt for a playoff spot tonight. Rescheduled game, 7 o'clock start. You never start games at 7 o'clock. Preseason, maybe. What do you think the feel is going to be like inside Lincoln Financial Field for kickoff tonight?
Jody, the fan base this year, they want to believe in this team. They want to believe in what's, in the process that's going on as far as rebuilding. But they're not completely sold. And so it doesn't take much, as we've seen in the previous 5 games they've played at the Link, to turn on this team. I think they'll be excited tonight because it's of a playoff atmosphere. If things don't go well early, though, I think we're going to hear a lot of boos. That's just, that's just the way it is right now with this fan base and with this team.
Before you jumped on, Damo, Jody and I were talking a little bit about the human nature aspect of this type of situation. And you saw it last night. I mean, Cleveland is crippled from their COVID issues, but they're right in the football game with Nick Mullins. Chicago is crippled. They don't have their starting secondary. They probably should have won the football game if they didn't make mistake or after mistake after mistake after mistake. There's a natural letdown factor. No matter what Nick Sirianni talks about, there's that human nature aspect of going, oh, we don't have to deal with a good football team. Washington's not great, but they're the same as the Eagles. They would have been a really difficult hurdle. But now, if Garrett Gilbert's out there, and he was on the New England practice squad last week, and he's had a couple walkthrough practices, how big of an impact is that natural sort of sigh of relief and say, all right, we got this, and all of a sudden it's the fourth quarter and you're in a tight game?
Yeah, that's a concern. And I think the responsibility for not letting that happen doesn't rest so much on people like Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff as much as it is on people like Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox and Darius Slay. They've got to convince the rest of their teammates that this is the Super Bowl because it is. I mean, they're in tonight starts the playoffs for them. I'm convinced they've got to run the table. One loss and they after New Orleans' win against Tampa Bay, I look at who New Orleans has left, and I think they're going to finish 10-7. So for the Eagles to make the playoffs, they've got to run their only chance is to run the table, and that means no losses, and starts with tonight's game.
Yeah, like John and I said earlier, if it's not a must-win, it's damn close to it. So it starts tonight versus the Washington football team. All right, you gave us a good read on Antonio Gibson, effective back, capability of making a big play, catches it out of backfield, but does eventually put it on the ground, and we'll see if that's the case tonight. How about their passing game? I know we don't even know who the quarterback's going to be, so it's kind of tough to get a handle on it. But somebody's going to throw the football. They're going to have to throw it some. Don't know if McLaurin's going to play. It looks like he should be able to get through concussion protocol, but until they make the official announcement, we won't know. Should the Eagles be selling out for the run on almost every down tonight and daring the Washington team to throw the football?
I think so, because I don't think Washington wants, especially if it's Gilbert, they don't want to throw it. They're not even as a surprise. So, I think the Eagles have benefited from the fact that Logan Thomas would have been a real concern for me if he was healthy and playing, which he's not. He's out for the season because the Eagles have had such a difficult time with tight ends this year. I think they have like 10 of the touchdown passes against the Eagles. So, they'll throw a lot. They'll try to throw a lot of high percentage stuff to Gibson, and he's a good receiver. I mean, he played wide receiver at Memphis as well as running back, and so he can catch the ball. The linebackers are going to have to play well, but stopping the runs first and foremost the job. You get them in third and long, even with Heineke, I think they can. They'll be fine as long as they don't give Washington too many 3rd and 5s or less.
So, Damo, can you envision a path to victory for a Washington football team with Garrett Gilbert? And by the way, it's still possible with the new testing rules that Kyle Allen could test this morning and get out of it and start this game. Not that Kyle Allen is, Sonny Jurgensen either, but it would be a lot better. At least he knows the offense.
Yeah.
If it's Garrett Gilbert, how do the Eagles lose this game? It's got to be a defensive touchdown from Washington, special teams, big play. Is it got to be one of those quirky things that gets them over the top?
Yeah, I mean, turnovers for starters, John, and this team certainly is capable of turning it over, although they've done a good job this year of not giving up a lot of costly turnovers. But their special teams has been inconsistent, so Washington could very well could take advantage of something there. And Gilbert, he played for Turner in Carolina. He knows this offense. I mean, so we're not looking at a guy that it is a guy they just picked up off the street, but it's a guy they picked up off the street who knows the offense. So I don't think he's going to be limited all that much in what he can call. It's just limited in what they want him to call, and that's why I think what they want him to call are a lot and lots of runs.
All right, Damo, let's flip to the other side when the Eagles have the ball. I think the Eagles have a better chance to win this game if Jalen Hurts is their quarterback. Sorry, Gardner Minshew, but I just am a Hurts believer, and I'm not ready to write him off for this season and or future seasons and the like. He gets the 2-day advantage of the game being pushed back. That being said, if he gets off to a slow start and the Eagles are losing at halftime or into the third quarter and they're within one score and Hurts' stat line looks pretty damn bad and he's got a turnover and the like, how much of a short leash is the coach working with tonight? Is this Jalen Hurts' game no matter what, sink or swim, do or die? Or will the coach at some point be open to the possibility of, I got to change the quarterback here because we still got a chance to win this game. And the guy I got in there is just having a bad night.
Good question. I think the leash is not as long as it was in week 1. I don't think they're looking to make a change tonight. But you also have he is playing on an ankle that I'm sure feels fine for him, but there's always a chance of him tweaking it tonight, and that being a factor in replacing him. The problem with Jalen is Jalen plays his best ball after he's played his worst ball. So you got to watch how quick a trigger you have with him, because you take him out when he's struggling and you might not get the best of him as he's shown in a few of the games. So, but I don't think it's impossible that they would make a change tonight at some point if he was really struggling, but I think it would be more because of the ankle than performance.
Now, we've talked about this a lot, Damo, and the fact that, you're trying to serve two masters here, you're trying to evaluate Jalen Hurts and can he be the long-term answer? And you have the argument that you got to see what he does in this sort of run toward the playoffs versus, hey, we're in it now. Let's go make the playoffs. I certainly think I know what's more important than Nick Sirianni, and it's counterintuitive to what should be important to Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, who was the one who officially first coined this year as transitional. What's more important, making the playoffs or evaluating Jalen Hurts?
I think they're trying to find a balance here because I think much like 2 years ago, in 2019, they went into the season not expecting to still be a contender late in the season, and they were. And then you kind of shuffle the deck and reprioritize. But I mean, I think Jalen gives them the best chance of winning. So I don't think keeping him in and allowing you to evaluate him also sacrifices your playoff chances. As I wrote earlier this week, John, my feeling is that they need to look at this as, okay, there's nobody in the 2022 draft that's a lock to be a can't miss quarterback. We can't count on Russell Wilson being traded, or we don't, they shouldn't want Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, they should look at this as, okay, he's coming back next year as our starting quarterback anyway. So it's going to be a longer evaluation process, and look at it like that, and not look at it like we have to make a decision by the end of this season.
Now I'm going to ask you about an individual player tonight, and it could have a major impact or it could be a zippity doodah. What does Kenneth Gainwell give the Eagles in tonight's game? And if it's something, in what role is that going to be?
I keep waiting for him to be a major factor in the passing game. He's caught a lot of passes, not a lot, but when he's been in there, that's what they've used him a lot for. I keep every game I said they're gonna use him on a wheel route tonight, and he's gonna have a linebacker chasing him 10 yards behind him, and they never do. Although I also keep wondering why Greg Ward's not on the field, so I'm a sick person.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think he can be a factor tonight in the passing game. I think he needs to be a guy that Jalen Hurts can count on, can look to, that can get the ball out to quickly, because he's so good in space. He's what Jalen Reagor isn't, a guy that can get yards after the catch. So I mean, that's how I think they should use Gainwell tonight.
Well, let's talk about the receivers. A little less uncertainty because Quez Watkins got back off the COVID list, so he's going to be able to go. But they've become more of a 12, 13 personnel team, certainly in second halves when they're just running the football. So you get one of those guys out of the mix. I know people are upset because Jalen Reagor played so much in 13. I actually understood that thought process, Damo, because, you're trying to seal the edge. Essentially, you're using him as a crash test dummy. You're not throwing the football. Why are you going to get a 166-pound kid hurt sealing the edge? So I agreed with them. But when they do have to throw the football and they do have 3 receivers out there, why is Jalen Reagor still out there on a consistent basis?
Because he was the first-round pick last year.
That's it, right?
Yeah, I mean they've got to, and I don't totally disagree that. I mean, they need to find, I think we talked about this last week. I mean, they need to find out one way or another with him whether he can play or not before they discard him or put him on the JJ Arcega-Whiteside pile. One thing I'm going to be interested to see tonight is, you mentioned that they're playing a lot of 12 and 13. They played a lot of 12 and 13 against the Jets. They hadn't played much before that. They were running the ball out of a lot of 11. I think because, for the reason a lot of teams like to run out of 11 personnel with 3 wide receivers, it basically forces the defense to put an extra DB out there, and that's easier to run against. And Jalen's had a lot of his running success, most of his running success out of 11 personnel. So it'll be, just from that standpoint, one of the things I'm going to be interested to see tonight is what Nick goes with against Washington. I guess a lot will depend on what he thinks works best against Washington's defense, and we don't know that until we see who's playing and who had too high a viral load.
When in doubt, viral load. Damo, How big a loss is Landon Dickerson in this game? We know he tested positive this week. There is the minute possibility he could have a quick turnaround test, and you only need one negative, and then you get back in. So he could actually play tonight, but it's highly unlikely. He's had a real nice, getting better every week, rookie year, missed all of training camp and was thrown in the deep end of the pool pretty quickly when Eagles had the guard injuries that they did. He's answered the bell. We've been told that Suopeta is great in practice.
Tesla
Individual
stock.
drills.
Tesla stock.
He's a Tesla, Suopeta. How big a disadvantage are the Eagles at tonight without Dickerson in the lineup?
It would be a concern to me. I mean, I've seen too much of Sua getting pushed back into quarterbacks to not have it be a concern. You know, Jeff Stoutland vehemently defends him every time you talk to him about Opeta. You know, my concern is with Jonathan Allen back, they're going to say, Jonathan, that's the guy you're going to play in front of or on the shoulder of the entire night and just go after him. And if that's the case, that's going to, you know, they're going to have to find ways. They're going to have to be very clever at kind of protecting that, because they're already, you know, I mean, Nate Herbig, I'm fine with a guard. It's when he goes to center that you get the shakes.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah,
if either you guys saw Akeem Hicks last night,
oh yeah,
that's what Washington wants from Jonathan Allen tonight. Because when you get pressure up the middle, the quarterback is just, I mean, that's how you beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That's how the Giants beat him twice.
Yeah.
That's how the Saints beat him on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And you don't want, especially on an ankle that's not 100%, we don't want to see Jalen Hurts flushed out of the pocket to the right all night, because they'll be waiting for him. Defenses have already kind of had their edge guy rushing high to force Jalen to be when he does, because that's the only side he can go to. He doesn't. He's not able to throw to his left. You know, he's like 20 yards back by the time he gets to the sideline. So, I mean, if they can't protect him in the interior tonight, it's a big concern.
Yeah, and Jonathan Allen is, you know, it's tough to say this, Damo, because Washington is the spot they're in. They're probably not going to finish this sort of run from their perspective in the playoffs. But he's a sneaky defensive player of the year candidate. He's been that good in the interior of that line. And interestingly, Chase Young isn't there. They're getting Montez Sweat back. They have Deron Payne. Yeah, you mentioned the kid from Temple. I always screw up his name.
Ionitis.
Thank you. Yes, Ionitis. Still a really good defensive line.
Yeah.
And man, Jeff Stoutland is worth his weight in gold, because I'm not concerned. Now, I'd rather have Brandon Brooks. I'd rather have Isaac Seumalo. I'd rather have Landon Dickerson. I'd rather have Jack Driscoll. But I think they're going to be competitive. That's crazy.
Right.
I just watched a team with a first-round pick and a second-round pick who can't block anybody. Jeff Stoutland just makes offensive linemen. It's unbelievable, Damo.
Stout is a water into wine guy. I mean, he's taken some lines, including last year, that you're saying, my God, they're going to get the quarterback killed, and he somehow finds a way to make them play respectable. One thing tonight, we had talked about Kenny Gainwell earlier, Jody. He's probably not going to get on the field a whole lot because of the fact that he's not a particularly good pass pro guy yet. And that's going to be kind of a key tonight. So, I assume we'll see mostly Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, and Boston Scott to a certain degree, but that's probably going to prevent them from using Kenny a lot.
All right, Damo, got to make a call here. Which Sweat is best? Washington Sweat or Philadelphia Sweat? You going with Joshua or Montez?
You mean as a win-loss situation here?
No, performs better, puts up the better stats, has the bigger impact on the game. Which defensive end sweats it out the best?
Yeah, Josh Sweat needs to. I don't think Montez Sweat's going to have a difference-making game because of the Eagles' two tackles. But I mean, they need Josh Sweat. They not only need him as a pass rusher, Jody. He needs to be able to set the edge tonight, or Antonio Gibson's going to have a party. And Josh Sweat has not been particularly good in that area this season. So he needs to pick it up.
All right, Tama, you said, last one for me, you said the Eagles have to win out. New Orleans, that upset kind of freaked a lot of people because I think, they were expecting Tampa Bay to just kind of roll over. And we saw what happened, injuries to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette. All of a sudden, they're getting shut out. But I think they played Miami, Carolina, Atlanta, I believe is their schedule.
It is. Atlanta's the only one on the road.
Possible. I mean, they're winnable games, certainly, but Miami's playing very well all of a sudden. Can the Eagles win out? Is it possible? Is it possible, or do you need Dallas to not be, playing for something week 18? I think we all think they could beat Washington. They could beat the Giants. Can they beat a Dallas team trying to win? Are they in that position?
I don't think they are. I think they need They need Dallas to be, Dak Prescott on the beach in Week 18. Dallas, in my opinion, right now is one of the top 3 teams in this league, top 2 teams maybe. That defense.
I agree with you.
Whoa! In this league?
Yeah, I said it last week. Absolutely. I said it. They are talented.
That's a grown-up defense. I mean, that's been their weakness always in the past. They got Dak, they got Zeke, they got good wide receivers, but they're, we're going to score a lot of points on their defense. Well, that ain't happening anymore.
Now, Randy Gregory might get suspended as we're speaking, but if he's out there and DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs,
Micah Parsons may be the defensive player of the year. That's how good he's played as a rookie, not rookie of the year. Defensive player of the year. And, so you got to hope. And by that point, who knows? But if they're still in the hunt for a bye in that last week, I think it certainly, if the Eagles had won the 3 games leading up to that, I wouldn't put a whole lot of money on them.
Hey, Tomo, you know why I don't think Micah Parsons is going to win Defensive Player of the Year? Because he's going to split votes with Trayvon Diggs.
You're right. You are right. What's he got? 10 interceptions now? That's
amazing. Yeah.
All right. Point of emphasis, then a question for both Damo and Johnny Mac. Point of emphasis is, yes, Josh Sweat is going to have the better game because this whole Montez Sweat thing, people are either saying, oh, they got him back. That's a huge addition. Don't think so. Or, oh, they don't need him back. He was patient 0 for their entire outbreak because he was unvaccinated and he shouldn't be with the team. No, you could kind of use him back. Here's the bottom line. He wasn't have that good a year before he went down with COVID. Both he and Young were having mediocre years. What we thought was going to be a dynamite Washington defense came out of the gate pretty poorly, and they didn't get better until both of those guys went out. So I don't think Montez Sweat has much of an effect on this game at all tonight. I'm hoping Josh Sweat has a major effect on the game. All right, here's a question for both of you guys. After the game tonight, tomorrow night on the NFL Network, they will announce the Pro Bowl rosters. And a couple got announced ahead of time because the Raiders were playing last night. So they told a bunch of Raider fans that the Raider guys that were on it, and Browns guys too. But they will announce the rest of the rosters tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, I think it is, on the NFL Network. How many Pro Bowlers do the Eagles have that will make it? Now, you can always have the after additions, and at the end of the year, how many guys end up making it. But actually be named as a Pro Bowl player, how many guys on the Philadelphia Eagles are going to get that honor?
I'll let Tom. I got to think about this.
Yeah.
I didn't tell either one of you guys this question was coming. So,
well,
yes.
Kelsey's going to be there.
I think 3 of their offensive linemen. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think
Lane's got a real good chance. Jordan's got a good chance.
I think Jordan has fascinated people and impressed them enough that the players he's played against that. So I think 3 of their offensive linemen, Darius Slay, naturally.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Fletcher Cox
Reputation, baby. Fletcher,
and
reputation.
that's just an embarrassment. I mean, Fletcher Cox. I don't
I
want to
agree.
hear.
If an Eagle DT's got to go, it's got to be Jason Hargrave, right?
Yeah,
I would bet on Fletcher more than Javon for
unfortunately.
reputation. Not saying he deserves it, but
I've lost all respect for PFF with their evaluations of the Eagles' defensive lines and Fletcher this year.
Yeah, they have Fletcher up pretty high. I think people would be surprised.
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a guy that, for whatever reason, has had one of the poorest seasons of his career. So
I think he's been better recently, but yeah, I think early in the season it was a struggle for him.
Yeah.
The thing about Javon is he struggled against the run. I think they're right there. He's been great again as a pass rusher, but
that's ironic too, because I mean Javon, there is a nose tackle, so you would think, okay, if there's a strong. How about Goddard? What do you guys think? Pro Bowl?
There's George Kittle's going.
Good ones,
there's so many good ones.
Kyle Pitts' numbers are significantly better.
Yeah,
as a rookie, it's
Dallas is a better player than Kyle Pitts, though. But you're right; it's all about statistics. But no, Kittle should go. I was talking about Mark Andrews, AFC, obviously, but that guy's unbelievable.
There are more. I've never seen really, really good tight ends in this league than you're seeing now. I mean, it's just amazing how many there are and how important they are to the offenses.
Yeah, when you get a good one.
Pitts, 58 catches, almost 850 yards. Goddard, 41 catches, less than 600 yards.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big difference. Those numbers are not just a couple of catches or a couple of yards apart. That's significant, 200 yards and more than 10 more
depends.
Catches.
So Damo brought up PFF, so I'll go to Pro. So Pro Football Focus has a Kittle 1, and he should be. That guy's unbelievable. Andrews 2, Goddard 3, Kelsey 4. Dallas Goedert's a pretty good player, but Jody's right in that statistics play a bigger part in
and as you said about Fletcher Cox making it because of reputations. Dallas Goedert's have never sniffed a Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
because he's been sharing time with another tight end here the last couple of years. So there's no reputation there for him to be able to get in. No, I think they're going to go with the rookie. I think Goddard's going to get shortchanged.
Yeah.
All right, last thing on the Pro Bowl before we let you on, Damo. Any chance Jalen Reagor makes it as a return specialist? No? Oh, man.
Well, he's going to make the Monte Reagor Pro Bowl selection team.
By the way, Jody, though, Sean Bradley, they have that coverage player. He might get some love. Special teams coverage.
Except that I haven't really compared place kicker numbers, but
he's got a shot.
He's got a shot because Tucker's in the AFC. So
there you go. That helps. All right, Damo, always a pleasure, buddy. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll get you back on in a couple of weeks, bud. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Tom.
Domowitch, writing these days for the 33rd team and Philly Mag, hopping on with us here on Birds 365. We come back. We got to certainly continue to break down the matchup between the Washington football team and the Eagles, but we'll follow up this conversation because we didn't give much time to the offensive line. Jason Kelsey, lock. Jordan Mailata, intriguing. Lane Johnson, I got bad news for you, and I'll let John run out his PFF grades as well, which, again, we always say this. Sometimes we agree with them. Sometimes we vehemently disagree with them. So it's just a measuring stick. It's not the end-all, be-all. But my overall evaluation, Lane Johnson has not been his dominating self this year. I don't know if that will or won't include him making a Pro Bowl. But we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. We still got an hour to go here on Birds 365. Hey, while you're here, like us, share us, subscribe to us. Gotta give props to you guys yesterday. You came up big for us after the show was over and done with. Xander, our erstwhile producer, said it was the most liked show in the 181 show history of Birds 365. You guys did the right thing and showed us the love and pounded the like button more than you ever did before. We had more than 100 likes. Well, now you've set the bar this high. So you got to keep hitting that like button for us on a day in, day out basis. Our algorithm needs it. I don't know if John or I need it, but they tell us our algorithm needs it. So keep hitting that like button for us here on Birds 365.
This is Joe Krause of